anyone that's naturally and organically talented and they're aware, self-aware, they don't need to express themselves in that way because they don't need your love. They don't even want your love. Your love is like that bullshit love that like loves kings and loves people for the wrong reason.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Raw Truth. Today is a no bullshit, straight up, the raw truth, really good conversation with Karen and I. So we're going to talk about how everything we're going through in life, good, bad, it's all serving us, and it's absolutely perfect the way it is right now. We're also going to talk about how to recognize bullshit in life and how to show up to that. And the way to show up to bullshit is to recognize that, be really true and real with yourself, and call it out, and just speak your authentic truth. And lastly, we're going to really touch on mastering what your passions are and owning that and not letting anything deteriorate you from your passion and pursuing that full throttle. All that and more in today's episode, so stay tuned.
Yeah. So I feel like it's been ages since I saw you, even though like it wasn't that long. I've had such a busy, crazy week.
I know, and it's getting crazier.
I know. Yeah, what's been occupying? What have you been thinking about most? You seem really refreshed.
But I feel like that's just my new way of being, which is really cool.
Nice.
Yeah, because things haven't changed like outcomes or relationships or nothing like that has like had a major shift.
Yeah.
But like it's all been internal, like in my mind and the way I'm being and living and trying to experience life.
Yeah.
That's changed.
Yeah.
Like since I came here and since I met you and since I came here, man, I'm a different person.
Yeah.
Like a different person from my way of operating. And it's really cool because I'm starting to realize it.
So what, on a day-to-day basis, what would you say like how you used to feel to how you feel now? So three key things of like, you can say, I remember my being when I first got here. These are 3 things I used to feel being that being. And now this is 3 different things that have replaced that.
Yeah, I'm not going to say like I don't get stressed or anything like that, but it's like the emotions that I experience throughout the day are just like gratitude and happiness and peace. Like, yes, you still have this and this, like whatever, you still have this, like this maybe a similar schedule, like I'm doing like similar things, but my state in doing everything is like...
So how do you think, how did you shift your state to get to that? Like, what do you think you...
Oh my god, it's so, I don't know like one pivotal thing, but I definitely think like these conversations help a lot. And having a lot of time to myself to sit with the conversations and sit with a book and sit on the beach and just like be like I'm here alone, and like I was saying like I haven't really made like a lot of friends out here, and like I have a lot of time to myself where like you can lose yourself and get caught up with like everyone who wants to hang out and like, oh, you're from Canada, like come out, let me show you around. Or you can find yourself and like embrace that like stillness and that downtime. And that's like what I've really stepped into, and that's allowed me to like...
So a lot of that's though been from you being okay with like I think in the beginning the biggest thing that I can note is like that I've seen in you is like from being able to be like torn. You were torn between knowing this is the positive thinking, but then knowing that this is how you think. And so because this is how you think, it's constantly fighting with the guy that wants to think like this and the guy that thinks like this. And you didn't allow this guy. Now this guy, you've made a space for this guy to come in, sit there, and you've become more of this guy. It's blending in. It's becoming more and more.
I think, also like in our past episodes we talked about like adopting another narrative. And I'm not saying like, oh, I've totally adopted another narrative. But I'm loving myself for where I'm at. Like, I have, like, my issues that I'm dealing with still, like, Karen knows just, like, other issues we've talked about, like, how I'll be super strict on, like, my meals and my routine, but instead of fighting myself and being like, I should just freaking, like, let loose or, like, do what you want, I'm just like, you know what? I'm loving myself for being this way.
Yeah.
And that changes the game.
Yeah,
just accepting yourself for how you are and loving yourself for how you are right now.
Yeah.
Because we try to like, oh, if I can't adopt the other narrative, like I suck.
Judge yourself. You judge.
Yeah, like, oh my god, why can't I just like do that? Why can't I just love myself? But it's like, I'm not saying don't like love yourself for not loving yourself. Like, just love yourself for where you are right now. Because it's not like a switch like that. Mm-hmm. And that just, I've found that like just accepting that and just being so okay with my current state and everything as is.
How could someone like say they the same as you that was in your position when you first got here, and they realize that there's a better state that they could be thinking and operating from, but they don't know how to like get that into them? And how do you think they could, from your experience, how do you think they could move forward? How do you think that they could go towards that way as opposed to continuing that same direction?
I think it takes a lot of self-awareness and a lot of time. So like continuously like feeling how you feel in the moment and recognizing that like you're not your thoughts. Like that's like what's going through your head, but detaching from that almost.
That's good.
Like these are the thoughts, but just like observing them. Like okay.
Good.
And that's like all from our conversation.
I love that resonated with you. You're able to look, that's okay. So the biggest thing is actually not what you just said. The biggest thing is being able to listen to somebody else and being able to like grab the nutrients of what someone else is saying and being able to applicate it to yourself. That is difficult. It's not what you did, but it's how you did it. So it's because what happened is that's what change is. All right, change is being able to be fluid and to not just be like boom and stuff's just on the outside, but it doesn't like change your direction. All right, so what you did was you were able to literally, I just heard you word for word, stop your thoughts, watch your thoughts, see what they are, recognize those thoughts are making you feel that way, which is making you react that way and move that way and leads to that outcome. Once you get that and you can wind it all the way back, then you're in a position to create something else or implement something else. But you have to do it from the awareness, not from the self.
Yeah.
And operating so that, you know, I like this, like it's one thing for me to say it, but it's another thing for you guys to see it.
Like I'm like literally living so much better. And like I'm not saying like, oh, I didn't land like some big client for my social media agency. Nothing like that happened. That made me switch. Or someone was like, yo, we want you to model for our brand. We're gonna pay you. Like nothing like that happened. It's just like
subtle.
Like, it's just that. Exactly what you said.
It's organic. That's why. It's not lucky. It's an organic process that's specific to you, and that's specific to your growth rate and pace, and how you intellectualize things and how much you open you are to let things sit. If you're concrete and you're, you know, closed, that it could take you 2 years for something like that, not 2 months. So it's just, you know, within that person's, you know, ability to listen and ability to be open to moving out your own thinking patterns, moving them out of the way and recreating new ones that are going to grade to your life and enhance your being's experience of how you feel while you live out life. That's the thing. It's like and that's what she's talking about. Ayesha isn't talking about all the achievements that she's made or the goals or landing mad. She's saying the biggest achievement is in the way I feel about the way I'm living my life. And what more, it could better of a measure of achievement than that, because it's like the way that you feel, the way you wake up every morning, how you experience the day, to when you go to bed every night being like, I just had this best day, I can't wait for tomorrow. Like having that, knowing that you did exactly what you wanted to do today and you loved it, and being excited because you know tomorrow is going to be the same. Like that's an achievement to be able to be in that state of mind and that state of that kind of have that mental attitude. And to even be able to shift just a little bit from where you are, or pivot or swivel or bend a little bit from where you are to grab that, you know, it's change, and it's a change in a positive direction, change towards the light, and not towards the dark.
Yeah, 100%. And like, oh man, there's just like, I also like, this really hit me too. Like, if you don't feel this way in your state now, and you achieve, like, say you achieve this like financial, this big check, it's not gonna change anything. That's like the other thing that hit me. Like, you gotta be like so content with your now. And like, people are like, no, but life would be easier with like, someone gave me $1 million. You think it would be, and like, obviously, like, I don't have $1 million, so I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, I'm sure that if you don't feel happy in your state right now, in your relationships with yourself, if you got that, it wouldn't freaking make that. It'd be a Band-Aid. Obviously, you'll be like, oh my god, amazing. Do you think so?
It depends. Like, people need basic needs like shelter, food, water, these things. So someone that doesn't have these things and you give them $1 million, their state of being,
everything, they had all that. And it's just like, they think like, it could be anything. Could not just be money. Like, oh, if I have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, like, then I'll be like at that level. But I'm just saying, like, it doesn't, you have to be so content in your now and with yourself, because if you got that girlfriend, boyfriend, car, money, clothes, it's just like, it's not gonna actually fulfill that.
It's the same as any high that you get in life. They're all momentary, and you'll always chop back to your deep state of being and live out that vibration. And so, you know, like I said, whether you get a promotion, whether you land money, or you win a tournament, or, you know, you're always going to land back to that deep state of being after that achievement. So the greater achievement is in knowing how to be so abundant, and that being caused and organically made from yourself. Like, being able to water yourself with the best water, oxygen, that O2 that exists, and being able to, kind of knowing what to pick up to water you, and also knowing like that what you're watering you with is nourishing you and growing you the best fruits and the best, strongest branches and the, you know, healthiest roots, all from knowing what water to pour on you, and knowing that you have the one that can access it to get it.
Yeah, 100%. Another thing that like is something that I keep telling myself is that it's just like, I guess it could be like even like a mantra or a statement, and I don't know, it works for me. I always just say to myself throughout the day, like, everything's serving me, everything's perfect. Everything's serving, like, when I'm like upset about something, like, no, Ayesha, everything's serving you, everything's perfect. Like, I spent like 3 hours with a client, and I'm like, oh, I'm actually there wasting my time. I'm like, you know what? I needed to do that. I learned. Everything's serving me. Everything's perfect. Like,
so if you were to go back, okay, so we're going to talk about a situation right now. So this is going to be the heart of the thing, like the learning thing that we're about to do. Because everything that we've been telling and talking about is like hard to grasp. It's not an actual lesson, right? Here's about to be one right now, and she doesn't even know it. So you went to meet with that client, all right? And the client...
She's watching.
And the irrelevant, there's no bad luck. She's watching, she's not, it's irrelevant. You went to meet with that client, and she says to you, you sit down with her, and you're about to like deliver it, and she tells you she's, again, this woman's connected to all these people, Nicki Minaj, gives her the whole drop, the LA drop, and she's like, yo, I can help you if you do a bunch of stuff for me for free, basically, right?
Like,
and Ayesha,
you know who I am, I'm connected. Like, to be working with me is like, it's like,
they all say that this is like a thing, right? It's a thing.
No
so
way.
She's learning these things. So, but now going back with what you know, okay, this is the part that's the lesson. So you went there, you sat it out.
So much time, and I drove so far from where we are.
Great. So what would you do now? What would you do now if you had to do that meeting again, from what you've got from us having a conversation, or from you, what you've gathered, the learning?
So I have to redo it, like go back?
Yep. What would you do? How would you do it differently with what you know now?
I would be like, okay, but this is like, I know my value.
No, from the beginning, from the very beginning, what would you say? What would you do differently? She wants to meet with you. You haven't gone, you haven't decided.
Oh,
what
I thought you meant I had to go. I would be straight up like, that's great, this is what I offer, like, say my rates, my value.
Right.
Like, I'm being undervalued. And it's like, you need me.
Yeah.
I don't need you. You reached out to me. Like, you, and then after the conversation, I'm like, you really need me. Yeah. But, like, I don't know, like, it's just, like, I learned a lesson, like, it kind of just, like, reinstilled the belief that I'm like, everyone in LA, I was like, Karen, they all fit this certain, like, formula and this way of being. And
what did I say to you when you told me that? I said to you, yeah, and you react to it accordingly. The biggest movement I think that you're feeling, that's you're starting to come to your potential, because the last week you've started, only in the last week, you've started like delivering the real of you, like the knowledge of you, the helping others.
Oh, I prepped that, but then I started posting it. Yeah.
Yeah, really?
Like a week and a half, 2 weeks, yeah.
Oh, was it?
Because I invested in a course, another like chunk of money. I don't know if I told you, not that other course I told you I was gonna do. I was like, no, I'm not buying that.
Okay.
But I invested in this other like mentor online. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And like, I obviously haven't seen the return yet, but I've just started.
Her posts are like, if you're interested, like whatever, like I'm not selling, but she is so, everything that I'm terrible at, like starting a media business, how to get out in media, how to think business, finance, like what platforms, like all that. She's been dropping it for free, just boom, 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 boom. But it's good content. It's like stuff you want to be like, oh, that's like learning from you, you know? It's not like just some stuff. And so that's why I'm like, wow, you totally just recently started doing that, and that's where your execution lies.
Doing it.
And that's where you charge as well, because it's like, this is your worth. You're giving them stuff. You don't go out and meet with them and give them too much of yourself. You're already giving them, this is what I can do, this is where I'm at, this is what I can do for you through that. They then come and be like, oh, I'm interested. You then come and say like, yep, this is my price. Right? So but that's the next, you're only 23. Wait till you're 30, you're going to be like, boss.
No, I have like 25. I want to be at that level. I want to have a scaled agency. If you guys are interested in this stuff, literally, like I want to extend a team. Like I'm looking for the right people, because I'm hustling my ass on, like out here. Yeah. Like crazy. It's such a beautiful thing to be on your passion and on your dream and know it. And go. Like if you're young, if you're say 16 or 15, 16 to like 20, all you should be figuring out is what you want to do, like your passion. So then when you're in your 20s, you're like all loaded, your whole car's like full, and you're just ready to like hammer the go button, like put the foot down on the pedal, like that type of go. Like that's what she's doing right now. She's just pressing go. She's got a few dips and a few clutch shifts. People message me because I'm like heavy now going in on my LinkedIn and Facebook, even though, because like there's a little bit of an older demographic on there, and I like that, and I've gotten so many messages being like, you're so young, like I wish I was doing that. Or like this guy was like, I've started my business, but he's like in his 40s, which is like totally cool, killing it. But it was just cool, like people are like, it's awesome to see like you're young and you're like going after it, and like I'm so driven on this. But that's why I think if you guys are in the same boat, like don't let people steer you wrong, like just keep going, because eventually like it will take off. It will. You just need to like push, and don't let people around you tell you differently, because I've had a lot of people being like, Ayesha, hang out with me, you're my new friend in LA, Ayesha, come do this with me. And I'm like, no, I actually have work to do. I want to work on my Facebook ads. I want to like research this. I want to become better at my craft. Like I want to prep for my weeks of my content I've been posting. And I'm just saying like that time that you feel like you're missing out, you're not, because you're building an empire.
What do you think like the next thing you want to be like? So when you're 25, what do you think you want to be different than now? As far as feelings, like how do you want to feel differently?
Oh, feelings.
Yeah.
I want to feel like more of like, okay, so I'm not saying that I'm not good enough, but I think, like, I don't want to word it in a bad way, but I want to be like, you know how you're just like, like I just own it, like you and your bike, and you just like, I don't know how you feel, but I can envision how you feel. Like when you're on her, she has this like sick ass like Harley Davidson, and like you feel like you are, but you feel it. Like you feel that you're hot shit on that thing, and like people are looking, and you feel that. I want to like feel like embody like a boss. Like I want to feel that, but like a boss, not even in the sense of having like flashy things, but being like to my friends like. Going to Nobu and I get the bill and I feel like so that would make me feel so
There's a difference
empowered.
between being the king, right? Did you see that post? The difference between being the king and then not giving a fuck who the king is. Like,
oh, let's go in on that. I want to hear.
Because like being the king is what people attain to be, right? The king, the money, the everything, like the boss, whatever they want, da 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 da. Like being that king of like having it all and having all the glories and like then there's the person that doesn't give a fuck.
It's like you.
About what the king has or doesn't or who the king's name even is. It's all whatever. So
that's a really cool thing about you though.
There's two different things. People are taught to strive to be the king. This is where the suffering lies. Instead of being taught to give zero fucks about who the king is.
How do you give zero fucks about who the king is?
Gain the clarity, like gain the truth about life and the truth about mainstream society and the thinking patterns.
Like you are like that, but you also are a king, you know, like a queen. And you're like you are at that level, like with the success and everything you've accomplished. And like where you are in your life and like all these awesome businesses.
But there's always
so it's different to say that like if I was a king and I didn't give a fuck about like you could be like you're wearing
but I always
hats.
live. It's not like before I was me when I was 23 years old. I was exactly the way that I am now. So I don't feel like I've achieved a bunch of stuff and I've got a bunch of stuff, even though I do. I don't
you
feel
have,
that
though,
as...
from
But I don't like look at that and be like, oh, that's why I'm like, I don't give, and nothing bothers me. It's like nothing's ever bothered me and I just do myself, and a product of me doing myself happens all these outcomes that come along the way. And the outcomes are whatever, houses and businesses and stuff. But these are just things that come along the side. They don't like whatever. If they're mine, but they're not like, they don't define me. I'm like, you know, so it's a different, as opposed to like, I'm this, I got that, I roll that, I direct that, yo, boom, womp. That's like, who cares? Like, no one's trying to listen to that. Or I'm definitely not trying to listen to that. I'm definitely not trying to be that, because that's putting way too much pressure on myself and your opinion of me, and I don't care. And it's not relevant to life. It's just not, it is so not important. It is so unimportant, and it doesn't serve me. It doesn't self-serve me if I think about what I do and don't have, or whether I'm, even the word queen, like who cares? I'm just me. Like whatever. Like I've been given this like ridiculous privilege of opportunity that I was born with athletic abilities and this head, and I got this and I look like this, that's a privilege. There's someone probably in the third world or Ethiopia or somewhere that's way more talented, way more, you know, has everything that I have and more, but just doesn't have the privilege and can't even feed herself, you know, and can't even like provide for her family or whatever. And I'm exactly the same as her. It's just the situation I was born into was different than hers. You know, there's no like, I'm a queen and she's not. She's more of a queen than me. She's living through stuff. You know, like it's easy for someone in the Western world or to be white or whatever to get to a status where they like feel like, yeah, I'm good. Especially if they look at the majority of the way people live in the world.
Yeah.
You know, but you don't look at the way a majority of people live in the world. You look at the way you live in your immediate surrounding. And again, the mainstream thinking system that teaches you not to think for yourself. It teaches you to adhere to these notions of success and these notions of like what a king and a queen and all this like money and whatever. Like, first of all, the real wealthy don't even get it like that. They wear mad casual chilling through life, right? They're not trying to be loud with it because they don't need to be. And second of all, like, it's, you know, anyone that's about showing that that's who they are, they don't have a deep underlying humble, like, natural talent, like an organic. Anyone that's naturally and organically talented and they're aware, self-aware, they don't need to express themselves in that way because they don't need your love. They don't even want your love. Your love is like that bullshit love that like loves kings and loves people for the wrong reason, and they're not on that.
That's so important you said that.
That's our time.
I love that note.
I love how the time.
Why are so many people about that bullshit?
Because they don't know any better.
How do you, before we go, how do you know better? How do you start changing this process to start knowing better?
Listening, like the way you were listening to me, and you made some revelations.
So listening to the right content, the right people, yeah.
The right influences, and you know.
Influences, not influencers.
Influences, and that's not. I'm not saying like. I'm saying whatever resonates with you, whatever hits deep with you, whatever sticks with you. That's what right is. It's not. There's no right and wrong, or for me to. You know. It's just for you independently. What sticks with you and what makes you grow and makes your soul smile, what makes you feel like, oh, that sounds like peace, that sounds like a joy way of thinking or being, then grip and gravitate and grow with that. That's the, you know, that's the art of learning, is learning what's growthful for you, what's going to water you and bring out your strong branches and your fruits and your trees, and bring your forest out of your twig.
Love it. Closing line you want to leave everyone with?
Alright, so closing line's going to be something like avoid the bullshit by not being it yourself. Second is being really committed to your passions. Like, get them and just go, like being so committed to them, like undeniably committed. And third is knowing what's good for you and getting to that truth of knowing this is what's going to enrich my life and grow my life, and paying attention to that. And it might not be anything in the mainstream. Like, try and look outside the mainstream. Think for yourself. Like, that's the biggest value that you can bring for yourself, is to just think for yourself. It's going to feel great anyway, but you just got to commit to it and believe, and yeah, live unapologetically in a sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for watching the video, guys, or listening to the podcast. If you guys resonated with the episode, we'd love for you guys to give us a like and a comment and let us know what you think. We look forward to serving you with more Raw Truth content, so be sure to subscribe on podcast and on our YouTube, Raw Truth Podcast. See ya!
Yeah.